Is this fair? Do you want to live this life going forward?
I don't know. It seems an easy kill for me, but I'm happy to go this way.
Hello and welcome to another big edition of Burning Questions. We've got special guests as always. I'll get to the sponsors in a moment, but Nathan, Jack, your first appearance, and you're so frightened you've left the seatbelt on even though the car's parked. That's how you are genuinely, you're pooing yourself here, aren't you? The seatbelt's on.
We have bad drivers in Shepherd and Javon. It's not safe anywhere.
He's scared he might get cleaned up in a stationary car. That's how bad things are. And I just want to make it clear before we get started on Burning Questions today, if I happen to make a joke, and it might be offensive to you, don't try slapping me in the gob next time we're at the races. Don't do it. It's not the right thing to do. I won't react super well. All right, our sponsors. Let's start with Hip Pocket Workwear and Safety. Whether you're celebrating a win or shoveling in the stables, you want your staff to look their very best, and you do that with uniforms from Hip Pocket Workwear and Safety. They have you covered. Nathan, Jack, Andy Gath, and Nikita Ross for clothing, protective equipment, including seatbelts, and plenty more. Check out hippocketworkwear.com.au. First question of the Burning Questions relates very much, well, to you, I think, Nathan. Is Petracca special or an under-14s freak? Is he just one of those early 2-year-olds who looks like a star, or is he actually a star?
No, I think he's pretty good, Javon. Yeah, I think he's going to be a real good horse. I don't know how far he'll get, but I think he's going to be a great 2-year-old, that's for sure. He's not real big, but he's pretty strong and he's pretty quick. I wouldn't be saying he's just a 2-year-old just yet, but I think he's pretty special.
Well, you thought he was so good, you thought you could sit 70 metres off him at Bathurst and run him down, so you must think he's very, very good.
Yeah, that's right. I hope someone sets an alarm this week.
What do you reckon, Skeeter? He looks very, very quick. I'm probably unwilling to say. I think he's somewhere between an under-14s freak and a freak in general. Your thoughts?
No, I'm probably rating him a little bit higher than you, Bon. I think, obviously he caught plenty of attention from that first trial, and then he was excellent up at Bathurst, and obviously just to make up the ground he did in the final, he was still terrific, and he looks like he's got plenty of speed. So he just looks like a ready-made 2-year-old, and I think even though we haven't seen stats this season, he's no doubt the benchmark, and I think he's a pretty special horse.
I don't know whether we'll learn much in the Shaker Maker Classic, unfortunately, Andy. I think Shaker Maker would turn in his grave if you realise it's not the strongest Shaker Maker Classic of all time, but I think he'll be winning comfortably, Petracca. But how good do you reckon he is?
Yeah, no, what I've seen, he's a quality horse, and he's a very natural 2-year-old, and just because he's little doesn't mean he won't go on. So he's got a very winnable race on Saturday night, and you expect that to get the job done. Interestingly, that he's drawn barrier 5 as well, same as his namesake. So you expect that he's going to have a pretty good career, but we haven't seen a lot of 2-year-olds at this stage, so we don't know what the competition's going to be. But no, he's a quality horse, and I think he's going to be a good horse for a long time.
Well, you're only little, and you've gone on with the job, haven't you? Like, size isn't everything. Well, I'm just saying, you've proven it can be done.
Yeah, I'm one of the rare ones, but Javon.
All the other little ones he just pushed to one side, Andy, on the way through and said, there's only going to be one little one that makes it, and I'll be the little one that does it. Question 2 of the Burning Questions brought to you by the Fresh Connection. They export Australian fresh fruit, not stale fruit. They get rid of the stale fruit, but they keep the fresh fruit, and they export it to more than 35 countries. Damien Glengarry is the export manager, and he is killing it. Nobody does a better job than him in the land, probably in the world. The Fresh Connection specialise in citrus, table grapes, cherries and mangoes. Freshconnection.com.au. We ask all of our new Burning Questions guests, Nathan, what their favourite fruit is. What is yours?
Oh, I'm banana or watermelon, man, Javon.
Who was it the other day? Just really disparate fruits. A banana or a watermelon? I reckon Nathan would have sung Watermelon Sugar to a few in his time. Andy Gath, can the Chinese or the cheese prevail despite their draws? Vintage cheddar and Chinese whisper for those confused by the question.
Yeah, obviously they both are racing very well. Back row draws over 700 aren't ideal. Vintage cheddar's been able to win 4 Metro races in a row, and all of them off the fence, so that's not easy to do at any level, especially Metro level. So he's a quality horse. He had a little bit of a freshen up since his last run, and he trialled well on Monday night. So I expect that he's going to be at the top of his game, but like always, you need a little bit of heat early. And if that happens, he's definitely right up, he's right in the race. And Chinese Whisper, again, there was a couple raps on him before he raced by someone on this panel. But yeah, no, I thought race was put on for him last start. Thanks, Nate. I'll send you a gift pack. Yeah, and he's probably entitled to win. So he's still, I think, to my mind, probably 6 months away from really seeing the best of him. He's only had 20 odd starts. A couple of horses in this race have won more races than he's had starts in Temporale and Sundine's Courage. So again, sorry, I keep saying again, but I know you cracked me about it. But you just need the heat on as well, over 1,700. But he does have the class and, the speed to win. So they've both got really good winning hosts, but you wouldn't be taking short odds on them.
You haven't actually said, I reckon last week you didn't say again once. I was able to pull you up, but unfortunately the heart wants what the heart wants. And you want to say again, and that's fine. That's okay. That's fine.
Well, I wanted to see if I got whacked and see if I was going to whack you back.
I'll get your step ladder, Andy. Nathan, what are your thoughts here with these two? I think Vintage Cheddar's probably got the better hope, but I've tipped them both on top.
Yeah, for sure. Vintage Cheddar, I've seen a bit of him lately. He sat outside me at Geelong and just crushed me, and I was really impressed with him there. And then followed him at the trials Monday night, and he ran a quick last quarter and really lazy. But when he sort of seen one come to the outside, he was really sharp and impressed me again. So he's a horse I've got a lot of time for, and I think he's a really good horse, that horse going forward. The other Trotter, Chinese Whisper, I'm not sold on it. I know it's got big raps and that, but if it didn't win last week, it was probably never going to win one in Australia. But Andy's raps are big enough for me, but I'm not sold on it just yet.
Well, all I'll tell you is if that gift pack arrives, then send it straight back, because we will have integrity issues if you start taking gift packs from Andy Gath. Right. Skeeter, what are your thoughts on these two from their second line draws on Saturday night?
Yeah, look, I think Vintage Cheddar's got a terrific hope, just keeps getting the job done, as Andy said, and trialled really nicely earlier in the week as well. So I think he's going to be very, very hard to beat. But Chinese Whisper, probably not so much. Obviously, this is a big jump up in grade compared to what he raced last week and was good there. But, as Andy mentioned, you're taking on horses like Temporale and Sundine's Courage. So it is a big, big jump up with the second row draw. So, I think he's going to find it a little bit harder, but Vintage Cheddar looks very hard to beat.
I'm thinking about having a banana and watermelon smoothie when I get home. I think they go well together. Question 3 brought to you by APG. Go to apgold.com.au, and when he returns, Nathan Jack can answer this question. Does the troll tell us that the old Nitro is back? I've actually tipped one too many who you'll be steering on Saturday night. What do you think is going to happen early here? And I don't know, you would have seen the trial of Jalebi Nitro, whether you were impressed or not.
Oh, it's hard to get a guide, J-Bon. They ran the first half in 4 and got home in just under 56, but they'd be entitled to a horse of that calibre. It did beat Soho Almazi, and that form didn't rank up that well the other night. She led and had a good trip and dropped out. So there's still a query on him for mine, but he's a quality horse and he's got a lot of gate speed. He's first up for 6 months, but as a 2-year-old back in March at Bathurst, he held Mac Dan quite easy, and we all know how quick Mac Dan is out the gate. But I know gate speed changes a lot, but I'm sure Jason will be going forward early, and I'd love to be able to be underneath him for a little while anyway.
So let's get down to brass tacks here. What likelihood are you of being able to hold Jalebi Nitro into the first turn?
I'd love to be on his back, that's for sure.
And if you weren't on his back and you didn't cross him, would you have a crack at trying to then take over at some point? Because that's what I thought might happen. But you've driven 7 or 8 winners more than me. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, no, I won't be getting too aggressive, that's for sure.
Is he going? He's where you want him again? Because obviously there were a couple of runs that he looked like he was flatlining a little bit, and he was great again last week.
Yeah, he's hard to get a guide on. He's a bit of a tricky horse to train, but his work's been really good. We sort of changed his work prior to last week, and he was really sharp and good. So, hopefully he goes into this week just as good. But I expect him to run a really good race, yeah.
All right, well, I've got to change my speed map again for the 34th time. Andy, what are your thoughts here with Jalebi Nitro, 1 too many, and all the other? It's a high-quality race, really.
Yeah, it is. I'm probably prepared to risk Jalebi Nitro to some extent. First up for a long time. It was a really nice trial. He ran a quick half, which he was entitled to, as Nathan said. Sorry. It's been out of this winner's circle for, I think 11 starts, which is a long time. And, if he fronts up here favourite, he's probably going to be a little bit too short. But yeah, again, maybe the good break, he might come back to his best. He was a great juvenile. He had a lot of issues along the way, but I just sort of wait and see till he sort of, shows that he's back to his best before I'd be backing him.
Who's the one to beat? That sounded genuinely like a fur ball, just quietly. So that's number one. I don't know what you've been eating, but number two, who's your tip in that race?
One too many.
Well, that's one too many. With Andy and I both tipping it, that's probably already one too many. Skeeter, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, look, I'm probably in agreement with everyone. I don't think the trial, we can take stats from that, or that can tell us that he's absolutely back to his best, because he got a very comfortable lead and then just dashed home really. So not reading too much into that. I believe he has been gelded since he last raced, so potentially could be back and in the zone a little bit more from that. But we just know it's so hard first up at this level as well. So with some quality horses engaged, so I don't think he's going to get it easy this week. There's obviously going to be a lot more pressure in a race, so hopefully we can see him back to his best, because there's no doubt he's a quality horse. But a bit of a watch and see on him this week.
When I hear the word gelded, Nate, I just wince a little bit. For some reason, I feel a little bit sore. I reckon you'd be the same.
Oh, yeah, I don't really want to think about it, to be honest with you, Javon.
No, I don't think we'd have much reason to go on, would we? Right, question 4 of the burning questions, the last of our burning questions, is with thanks to Falvo Fruits. They're specialists in table grapes since the 1960s. Michael and Josie Falvo, they're keeping the tradition going, and everyone loves their grapes. Keep an eye out for Falvo Fruits. You know you'll love them. Question 4, back in class, is Hopeful here a beauty or a risk, Andy Gath?
Yeah, no, I think it'd be a risk. Last week it was a brutally run race. They were just outside the track record, and the last quarter was 30. Hers would have been a lot slower than that, and there was a lot of tired horses hitting the line. So I'm not sure she'll back up that great from that run. It is a huge drop down in class, and she's the highest rated horse in it. Amazingly, her last win was over I'm Ready Jet, so I don't know how that ever happened. But
Nearly happened again a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it did. So she's a little bit hot and cold. You just sort of don't know which one's going to turn up. But a little bit worried that, there was a brutally hard race last week over 2,700, and my mare's gone to the paddock, and I'm guessing I'm Ready Jet's gone to the paddock. So just be interested to see how she backs up, but I'm prepared to risk her.
Bit of hot and cold. This edition of Burning Questions also sponsored by Katy Perry, and we've got Nathan Jack's opinion now. Hopeful Beauty. I mean, if you knew which time she was going to run unbelievably well, you'd back her every time, but I never do.
Yeah, Javon, I'm a little bit concerned you didn't ask Andy about getting gelded. Just because he's a little bit our senior doesn't mean that he doesn't think about it either.
No, look, but I asked you specifically. You're a new guest, and I've got a funny feeling you're a young colt, and we are going to send you to stud at some point. Unfortunately, you probably went to stud during your racing career a little bit too early, but we can discuss that on a separate edition of Burning Questions. Your opinion on Hopeful Beauty. You're not hosting the bloody show, Nathan. Let's get on with it.
I just think she'll be too good for him. I just think she's the class runner, massive drop in grade. I think he'll be able to drive her however he likes, and I think she'll just be too good for him.
There you go. What do you reckon, Skeeter? We've got a little bit of dissent on the panel.
Yeah, we do. Look, yeah, if you've got a knock on her, it's probably just that lack of consistency. I'm willing to forgive last start and her sort of disappointing performance to a degree. It was her first go at that trip, and as Andy said, it was a brutally run race. So I think, just put a line through that one, but the quick backup is a slight query, but it's a massive drop in grade. She's proven herself at that top level against the mares recently. So I think if she's anywhere near her best, she'll be very, very hard to beat.
All right, it's time for best bets. The good news so far in this edition of Burning Questions, Nathan Jack has not been sideswiped, despite the fact that he's keeping all measures of caution available at the moment, with the seatbelt going, maybe the lights even flashing as well. Best bets, we'll start with you, Skeeter. What do you got for us?
Yeah, look, a bit of pressure this week, so I'm handing.
You want to get it right, because you were chipping me about my best bets on radio the other day. So what do you got? Come on.
Just go 4 in a row, so let her talk.
Yeah, this is 4 in a row, so I'm handballing the pressure to Andy and going vintage cheddar this week. It's a pretty tough meeting to find a best bet that won't be very, very short. So yeah, I'm going with vintage cheddar.
Would have minded you coming in to support me there, Nathan. Obviously, it was 2 against 1, and you just said you can deal with them, J-Bon. No worries. What's your best bet, Nathan?
Well, I think Petracca, I can't see him getting beat, but there's one I like early on, went good first up, Fire Rock, Fire Roll. It's a bit of a tricky draw, but I think it'll be really hitting the line hard.
tell you, we weren't letting you get away with having Petracca at $1.04 as your best bet, so that's slightly better. Fire rock, fire roll. My best bet on the card is Ultimate Vinny in the final race. It's a very awkward little draw. Bailey McDonald takes over for Sam Barker for the second time in a row, and I think he's a pretty nice horse. Andy, come on, fight back. Fire up. What's your best bet?
I'll fight back. You know I love going head-to-head with you, so I'm going the last race as well. I'm going for Balenciago.
Is Balenciago going to lead?
Probably not.
You're such a smart aleck. Like last week, I predicted you'd go with Balenciago, and you didn't, and now you are purely to go head-to-head with me. Is this fair? Do you want to live this life going forward?
I don't know. It seems an easy kill for me, but I'm happy to go this way.
Another great edition of Burning Questions. Thank you very much to Nikita Ross, to Andy Gath, and to Nathan Jack. Hopefully we found you some winners. Nathan's safe. Andy's going to some sort of swinging type party there with his Hugo Boss jacket on. And Skeeter, you're at 400 Epsom Road, obviously.
I am, and your clothes are still in the corner, Bon.
Terrific. I'll come pick them up soon. Hopefully everyone enjoys the rest of their day, and hopefully you at home enjoy watching once again Burning Questions. Nobody getting hurt, nobody jumping the stage, everybody just having fun and looking after themselves.